Hello, my beautiful friend Louisette. How are you?
Great. How are you? So nice
Yeah,
to see your face.
yeah, you too. Now, for everybody who doesn't know you, where are you right now?
I'm in Santa Monica, California.
Oh, and it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. I was lucky enough to stay with Louisette last time I was in the US. It was awesome.
Thank you. We loved having you, even though
Yeah.
we probably tortured you with lots of kid screams the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm certainly not used to being around kids 24/7, that's for sure. But no, your girls are absolutely gorgeous. So it was
Thank
it
you.
was a joy to be there.
They loved you, so we're looking forward to visiting you.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on down. I don't know. I was planning on being up there in November. I was going to go to
Oh,
the
right.
Inman conference in New Orleans, but I don't think that's going to happen now.
I don't think so either, but quite frankly, we were going to have a party for you for Real Women in Real Estate Los Angeles, which we were supposed to have one in May, and we, of course, canceled that. But let's see how it goes, come November. I mean, really, a lot of and I know we get different kind of news from here to there, but
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of news saying that we're looking at maybe August. So I'm not sure what you're getting there.
Um, yeah, so Australia's actually going okay at the moment, where each premier of the states are making decisions around the shutdown for their various states. Our premier is saying it's a month by month proposition, so she will come back to us at the end of April. But I still think we've got a bit longer to go than that. I just don't know that we'll be able to travel overseas by the end of this year. I'm not confident about that at all, but we'll see what happens, right? You know,
Wow,
yeah.
that's kind of sad. I was in Australia this time last year, so I keep getting all these Facebook notices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, because you obviously were our keynote speaker at the Women in Real Estate conference, and unfortunately, we had to cancel it this year.
Oh no, that's so
Yeah,
sad.
so it was just about a week before we all got told to lock down. So we made the decision, and it was obviously the right decision. And I do love that you are wearing your Camilla. I did take Louisette shopping at Camilla when she was in Sydney last year, and I love that you've themed it Australia today for us.
Yeah, like I said, when in Australia, we're Australian.
Yeah, absolutely, love it.
Yes, I
Now,
love her stuff too, by the way. She's opening a store here.
has she opened it yet?
I don't know, actually. I have to say, I did so much damage in Australia at Camilla that I thought, I better wait.
Yeah,
So.
well, yeah, your dollar is really strong against ours, so it's not a bad time to be shopping, really.
Yeah, no, listen, that's why I did it because
Yeah,
I kept thinking it's 50% off.
yeah,
So,
exactly. I love
and
it.
I'm supporting Australians.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I've got so much I want to talk to you about. Firstly, how are the girls? I know one of them was not so well a week or two ago.
Yeah, I mean, I posted about that. I mean, I have a 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old, and a four and a half year old. I also have step boys, 13 and 15. But our step boys are actually not coming over that often. I'm unfortunately high risk because I unfortunately got diabetes type 1 after I had the two babies. So that makes me in the very high risk category. So my doctors constantly reminding me of that. So I actually went a little bit more on lockdown about a week previous to being told to go on lockdown, just simply again because my doctor had suggested it.
Yeah.
And both my daughters, of course, are with me, but just last week, one of my daughters just out of the blue had 103.5 fever at 3 in the morning. And that's the thing about this virus is there's many silver linings. I've definitely felt lucky to experience them, but that is definitely not one of them. I just was really panicked because I thought here I couldn't go to the hospital if she was really sick or if she
Mm,
did have the virus.
yeah.
And how do you do that? How do you make that decision? I honestly don't know what I would do. I didn't sleep for several days until she was better. And, she just got some little bacterial infection, maybe. I don't even know what she had. I couldn't
Yeah.
understand how she got anything since she isn't going out
Hasn't
anyway.
gone anywhere.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, the doctor said, listen, kids still get sick even if they're in quarantine. I was like, really?
How can
God,
that be?
God, that should not be the truth, but it is the truth. So, she got better, but I mean, it's just that's the part that you realize. I mean, I think too, when people are losing loved ones about how they can't be with them because you're you're obviously having to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And when you have two children, if one child is sick and the other is not, I mean, my God, that really can't be a worse decision to make. But luckily I didn't have to make it. It kept me up for nights trying to decide, but nonetheless, we're okay now. So
that's good. Very good to hear. Now, obviously, when you were in Australia last year, you told us all about your experience with Harvey Weinstein. You're the lead plaintiff in that case, and there's been some awesome news in the last month. So, talk us through all of that.
Yes, actually, as you just said it, I got chills.
Mm.
You know, who knew, right? I mean, that's the truth of the matter. Who could have predicted that actually he would get charged of anything? I mean, I have to say that myself, as one of the survivors, and then many of the other women that I'm in contact with, we really were just skeptical that anything would happen to him in this last trial. And we were at least hopeful that something would happen to him in the Los Angeles trial, because those two cases are actually a lot more, dare I say, easier to try. So we were hopeful at least he would get taken down with that. But we were really shocked and elated that he got charged with anything. And I know that many people think that he should have gotten more, and it's not that I disagree with that. It's just that when you look at the statistics for rape, if you will, or any harassment, it's really a 3% chance that you're going to get that these people will walk away with a conviction. So especially with such a high profile case, we just thought there's no way anything's going to happen to him, but it did, which is really shows us that there is this turning point, I think, really for the world, because I actually was on Australian news during that week.
Sunrise, I think. Was it Sunrise?
Yes, Sunrise, yeah. Exactly. And it was just nice that look, what happened here is hopefully going to make an impact, what happens there and all over the world, to say, enough is enough. You cannot treat people this way. And we will take you down. And it was the first time any of the survivors really experienced that, because usually, sadly, it's the other way around.
Yeah, that was amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I was so excited to hear that news. Now, tell me about what's going on in the real estate market in the US at the moment. Are you still able to show property? Have you got tenants striking and not wanting to pay rent like we have over here? What's going on?
So I first want to say, I work in title insurance here, so I'm not a realtor, but obviously I work with many, many realtors.
Yep.
So the good part about that is I get to hear what all of them are saying in my territory. In addition, I am a homeowner, and I have a rental property. So, yeah. I can see it from many sides, and I did rent for a long time. So, I'm not going to say that I don't understand both sides, but it was really upsetting for me. I remember when this first was coming through, that we would have to stay home, Santa Monica was saying, hey, right away, no landlords can evict. And I have actually a property in Santa Monica. So I thought, my response was like, you can't just say that they can't pay, but then we have to pay. I mean, look, I'm not saying that some people aren't uber wealthy and they have all the money in the world to pay and it doesn't faze them, but just because you're a homeowner or you own a rental property doesn't mean that you haven't slaved away to keep that property. So, I think, listen, if they don't have to pay, then quite frankly, then neither should we. And let's first start with the landlords, though. I mean, don't push people to own property and to buy and to sell, and then say, oh yeah, but now whoever's living there can just get a.
It's so complicated, isn't it? Because I completely understand that, people have lost their jobs all over the world. They can't afford to pay the rent. But as you say, as landlords, we still have to be able to find the money, not just to pay the mortgage, but what happens if the hot water service blows up or if the plumbing gets clogged? We've got to find the money to actually do the repairs and maintenance and all of that stuff as well. So it's such a complicated issue, and governments around the world are trying to deal with it at the moment.
Yes, I don't know how well we're dealing with it, but no. I think, look, obviously, I'm never going to kick somebody out, you know,
No.
and I get that concept. I really
Yeah.
do get that concept. So I think, yes, that makes perfect sense. If you've lost your job and you literally can prove that you have no money to pay the rent, then that is one thing. But at the same time, you cannot ask the homeowners to then pay, because like many of us, I'm sorry, but I don't sleep on a bag of money. I don't just have extra money laying around that I can just throw at my rental property. I mean, you know, we are sustained by the fact that it is rented out.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one. And, you know, I know there's some people who can just pay all day long, but that's really not the norm, even here
No.
in Los Angeles. So, you know, I personally work very hard to make sure that we can keep this rental. So look, at the end of the day, you know, when I'm gray and, or will I ever be gray? I don't know.
No, you'll never be grey, my friend. Although I did read something on Facebook saying that 88% of all of the blondes in the world are going to disappear by the end of the virus because they can't get to their hairdressers.
Well, listen, I will just be a brunette, so
Yeah.
not too bad. I
Yeah,
can
that's
tell
okay.
you, God bless my maternal grandmother, never had a gray hair. I'm not even kidding. She
Oh,
died in her
stop it.
90s, and she never had any gray hair, and it was like a joke in our family. But to this day, like my hairstylist always says to me, like, "Oh, you have no gray." So I'm hoping I take after her.
Oh, wow. I'm so jealous because let me tell you, I would be all grey, but don't
Oh,
just keep that between you and me, all right?
yeah, and all the Zoomers.
Exactly. So are there still transactions being done? Are there still properties being bought and sold?
Yeah, absolutely. So my territory is Malibu all the way to
Oh,
Westchester and then
sounds
up
awful.
into Brentwood. You know, so it is a high net worth area,
Yep.
obviously. But so what I can say is that in particular, I'm seeing still purchases, and people are opening up prelims in Malibu in particular. I think because, you know, with this pandemic, yes, the lower income, and I say lower, and again, it's all relative because we're talking about, you know, the $1 to $2 million house
Yep.
prices are not going through, but the 6 and the 12 and the 20 are.
Right.
Interestingly enough. So, you know, but there is still movement. And then people who had their homes, you know, basically in limbo and escrow, a lot of them are still closing because you know, real estate is seen as a necessity here.
Yep.
So both in my company for title and then in escrow, everybody's still working. In fact, we're working more than we used to, and doing a lot of Zoom calls, of course, as well. But like my title officer is actually in the office. We have a very skeleton crew. We have everybody working from home as well. But
Yep.
she's in the office because, you know, a lot of that information that comes through is very sensitive. So it's hard to push through to a home.
Yep.
But she's going in every day, and I tell her, you know, every day how grateful I am because I do really appreciate her.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're all still working.
Still
It's just,
working.
it definitely, you know, I'm not going to say it's not slower because obviously it is, but my husband works in lending, and I can tell you he is constantly, he's so busy, which, you know, good or bad for me, because when I'm now a full-time preschool teacher and
Yeah.
working,
Exactly.
at about like 5:30, I'm like, get your tush up here. He works downstairs. We
Yeah.
turned the garage into an office, and you know, so he's just working now. I mean,
Yeah.
the rates, of course, have been a little bit all over the place, but you know, they're great. So people have the time now, they're home and they want to refi, and that's just the way it goes. So
Yeah.
he's very
Yeah.
busy.
Oh, that's great. That's great news that he's busy. That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. So one of the, you know, we've seen particularly at the beginning of all of this, we saw people in Australia fighting over toilet paper. We were hoarding toilet paper and fighting over it, but we heard that in America, guns are considered an essential, or gun shops are an essential service, and gun sales went through the roof. Um, is that something that makes you nervous, being in isolation in America? Is that something that you think about, or not really?
It's interesting because you know, it's not like a daily thing that I think about because I don't I mean, listen, I do live in Santa Monica. I think that America's a big place, much like, you know, Australia. Different areas have their different pockets of, you know, what is deemed acceptable. Thank you. Not a lot of sleep, so acceptable. And, you know, over here, I can say that that's not really the norm to see somebody toting a gun. So I can only speak from my experience here. And, you know, I'm not worried about it, but I have to say, it was kind of the first time that I then worried, thinking we don't have a gun. So, you know, that's true. Then what happens? Because if people do have them and you don't, you know, where is that line drawn? It is a little scary. And of course, I do have little kids. And I've heard too that, you know, fraud right now is on a rise, just obviously because people know they can jump in on your Zoom calls, etc. So, and they're taking people's information, and that's scary. And I actually just got hacked actually before the trial ended. So I'm always skeptical because a lot of the survivors have been hacked. But I mean, I was hacked badly as well. So you start to think, well, if people are home and they really need something, you know, are they going to show up with a gun? And then where would I be? We do not have a gun, but I don't know if maybe I shouldn't be saying that publicly, but
it's all right. I'm not going to give out your address, I promise.
Yeah. Okay, good. But you know, it is, I think, again, it's different places in America that this really makes a difference. But it is the first time that I actually thought maybe that I would need one, just simply more because if people think the world is ending, you know, it is a scary place to be. And I think that when you don't feel like you have anything to lose, that's what truly scares me, is that then people just aren't going to care as much. But I'm a little isolated here in Santa Monica. I think California, you know, we do slightly better job at being responsible sometimes. So.
Yeah, you are certainly in a very, very beautiful part of the country. There's no doubt about that. And you have got some pretty fabulous neighbours too. So
yes, I do.
Yeah.
God bless my husband. He bought the house almost 18 years ago. So you know, that's the only way we are here. And we rent, you know, part of the house out. You know, again, we do everything to survive so that when we're older, you know, we can use these houses probably to put our kids through school, and then of course survive ourselves, because even if you work so much here, you know, we're taxed at almost a 40%. I mean, it's
I'm taxed at 50%, lovely. I'm not, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, you get it. It's painful.
Hard. Yeah, it is. It's really hard. But I can't tell you how lovely it is to see you and to catch up. It's been way too long, and I hope that one of us gets over to the other's country sometime in the not too distant future.
Yes, well, I mean, and I am working on some new stuff that hopefully, you know, by the end of the year, I know, again, just some positive stuff, which
awesome.
Do the teaser. I can't really say what it is, but I've, you know, just decided that I have to dip my toe into a few creative projects, and hopefully I can share them by the end of the year. It should have been actually I was supposed to be in New York this week, but I'm not going for obvious reasons. But you know, hopefully by the end of the year we'll have some things to celebrate, and then hopefully we can have a lot of you come.
Oh, how good would that be? Yeah, it's a real women in real estate trip to New York for something very special.
Wouldn't that be fun? I know.
Wouldn't that be awesome? All right, I'm booking my ticket. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much. It's been great to catch up. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.